Thank you for staying with us right here on Good Morning Kenya. My name is Vivian Ndegwa, and right now we get straight into Family Check. And today, as I had mentioned earlier on, that we will be looking into parenting on Family Check. We will be looking at the relationship. What relationship should a parent have with their children, especially during this time when we have children at home due to the long holidays? How are parents supposed to parent in a way that it will be positive parenting? I am joined by one Mr. Mustafa Masudi, and he is here to just delve into this topic so that we can be able to dissect it. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. My name is Mustafa Masudi, and currently I serve as a minister at Nairobi West Church of Christ. And coupled with that, we have a college, Nairobi Great Commission Training College, where we train ministers, where I support on administrative issues.
Okay.
And I'm really glad to be here today, more especially in this very important subject of family and being specific on areas pertaining to parenting.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you here as well. If we may just start with what positive parenting is.
When we are talking about positive parenting, it is important to look at 3F. A parent is an administrator. A parent is a friend. And so when we talk about 3F, we talk about being friendly to your children, being fair to them, and also being firm, because family is an institution. And since it is an institution, it is more meant for training rather than just rearing. Because the best word we use is nurturing the children.
Yes.
That means we make them very balanced and prepare them to be individuals, or rather adults who are independent, and they are able to run their own lives without having to be to be held by the parents, or always requesting guidance from their parents when they are adults. Yes.
I love that you've said it's 3 Fs.
Yes.
Fair, being friendly to your children, being fair to your children, and being firm. So that friendly and firm, how do we differentiate the two? Because sometimes they say that you're supposed to be a friend to your children, but where do we draw the line? Where does whereby you also need to be firm? Because sometimes you're too friendly, you forget to become firm. So where do you draw that line that your children know, yes, dad is my friend, yes, mom is my friend, but then there's a line I cannot cross?
To begin with, a good parent must understand that a family is an institution. And what really guides an institution is communication. And you can't communicate without having a come together with your children. Personally, I always have at least 3 meetings with my children every year. We sit together, there is a specific day, lunch is prepared, we sit, we talk, everybody airs up. Sometimes I even come out and say, please, I'm sorry, I promised I was going to do this, and I couldn't do it.
Like, so you intentionally set aside 3 days where they know within
3 days
the year,
in a year, yes,
there will be a family meeting.
If it is not 31st of, the first meeting is always either 31st of December or on 1st of December morning. So we set aside, we prepare ourselves psychologically, we meet and communicate to the children your expectations about them, so that when you later hold them accountable, they understand what you are holding them accountable over. So when I'm talking about being friendly, your children should know that you are the best person they have in their life, and they can easily open up to you whenever they are in struggles. Then when I'm talking about being, I said 3F. I said you are a friendly, and then you are a fair, and you are firm. Sometimes the parents, they don't give their children time to express themselves. Because how else will you know what these children are going through until they communicate, or they communicate to you? Then when we are talking about firm, mean what you say. Many parents are not true to their children. They even make promises they know for sure they are not going to fulfill. It is better to be accepted as a parent for what you are able to do than to try to please your children, then hurt them more and create an environment of mistrust.
How important is it for communication to be part and parcel of a family, setup? Like you said, you always have 3 meetings. That is communication. You know, everyone gets to air out their views, whatever they've been feeling, what they think, Just how important is it for parents to adopt such a method whereby they put it open, whereby communication is really, really open in that setup of family?
First of all, you don't become a tyrant in the home. Like, are your children expecting a father to arrive? Are the children expecting their mother to arrive? Are they comfortable with you? Because one thing, you can set up a meeting, and since the children are not sure about how you are going to react to anything they say, they will have 2 faces. They will have a face for you and a face for the world. They come to you and they tell you your child is like this, and you're saying, oh, no, that's not my child. I know my child. Yet you totally don't know your child. So creating an environment of being friendly, creating an environment of being friendly, but you don't abdicate your role as the leader of the home. So that you have set, for example, if you are setting objectives, you are setting guidelines and rules in the home. By the way, the best way is to allow your children to participate in setting their own rules. Like, it is like public participation. How would you expect this family to be? If you were to be me as your parent, what would you have expected your child to do? When children set the rules of how they themselves are going to run, and of course you provide the guidelines on how that can be done. And when you are dealing with your children, like when you say, if you confessed this, I'll forgive you, truly forgive. Because next time you say the same thing, they will know that you are lying, and they will never open up to you. And again, I have issues with the children traveling or going to different families, and it is good when you travel, you go with your children, come back with them. Make your home to be a small heaven where your children are comfortable to be there. You don't tell them, please be in the house. No, they just want to be in that house because to them it is the safest place they ever want to be.
All right. And are there stages in parenting? By this, I'm asking, is it how you parent a 16-year-old? Is it the same way you get to parent a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 9-year-old? And there's someone we had on this set a while back who said that between the ages of 0 to around 7 years, you're not supposed to be friends with your child. You're supposed to instill discipline in them. You're supposed to let them know who you are as a parent, and not really friendly. And then after 7 years, then they say that is when now you start developing a relationship where your children see you as a friend. But 0 to 7, according to them, it's not a time for you to be friendly. It's a time for you to instill discipline. So is there a way of parenting? Is it different in terms of how you parent a 7-year-old, a 16-year-old?
I want to strongly disagree. I want to strongly disagree. This is a guest who has just arrived into our world, that they are seeing everything with the eye of, I call it tabula rasa, an open mind. And how else? Because in most cases, people don't care about how much you know until they care about how much you care. So care comes first. And then, of course, when you provide guidance, and that's why I came in with the word friendly, fair, and firm. You need all your years to couple up the 3. In the year 1 to 7, it works. When you love them, they will want, first of all, to emulate you. In Swahili, they say that mwana utazama kisogo jani naye. That means they want to really be like you. Every young girl wants to be like the mother, and every young boy wants to be like their father. Well, I remember when my son is now doing BSN, Bachelor of Nursing. When he was small, Everybody, he liked to walk like me, to try to do everything like me. And so how else do we want them to emulate us if they fear us? They need to love us. Even, by the way, they say that a compliment comes before correction. So if you are a tyrant, what will happen? They will fear. And I'm also a specialist in human development. I did special education, and when you are relaxed in a playful environment, you gather more information than when you are in a harsh environment. So when children are happy around you, they get to get every little detail you are trying to put before them. Now, you asked me about a 12-year-old, 16-year-old.
Yeah, is the parenting style the same?
Truly speaking, the developmental stages of every child requires a different approach altogether. In the first instance, children are gathering vocabulary. They are gathering so many things. They are gathering everything. But now it is you to provide guidance on what is good for them and what is bad for them. When they get to around between 0 and 10 years, you look at it like the children are really gathering what will set the foundation of their life. If you can't get through very well between 0 and 10, you will have trouble when they get between 12 and 16.
Mr. Mustafa, I'll ask you to hold your thought. We take a break and then we get back with this.
Okay.
Let's take a break. Welcome back to the program. Thank you for staying with us. Now, before we took that short break, we had already started our conversation on parenting, and we're just looking at the relationship between parents and children. And you were just explaining to us the stages of parenting. You had talked about 0 to 10 years. How do you go about parenting children between the ages of 0 to 10 and moving forward? Yeah.
When we are talking about okay, between even 0 to the highest level of parenting, if you are ever to give any punishment, let a child understand why. Some parents just, before even they gather all the information, they are already on top of punishing the child, denying them this and that. But listen to your children to really understand. You must have to come to a common understanding about the mistake that has been done. On 1 to 10, love, the percentage of love should be higher than the percentage of discipline. Because at that point, these children don't know the difference. They can associate. Even sometimes parents give children cause almost like punishment. Anytime they grow, they detest that thing that they were given. Like, if you make this mistake, utaenda kupalilia maua, you know. If you make, but you know, weeding the flowers and all that are a common cause that should be enjoyed. So, but if we associate punishment with work, then they detest work forever in their lives. So when we are talking about developing the little children, the younger the children are, the more friendly we need to be. But the older they grow, we now instill more discipline and direction, because you know they are stepping out of your house. And are they going to fit into work environment? Are they going, like, they throw tantrums? They do this, you know, they get annoyed, they refuse to eat. They do. At that point, you need to instill more and more, because once you release them into the world will not be, they will not empathize or be merciful to them. Yeah. So as they grow, when they are still very young, cuddling them, holding them on your chest, loving them is very important. But always be firm when it comes to giving instructions. Yeah. Like, for example, I have an issue with parents where their little children are jumping all over the guest. They are pouring food anywhere in the house. Just because you need to be friendly. They just, no. In my house, God has blessed me with a good family. I have 4 daughters and 3 sons, and coupled with the 2 others who came from other families. They had nowhere else to go. I have 2 grandchildren, but even my grandchildren, one is in grade 1 and the other one is PP. They are very disciplined in the sitting room, not because I'm a very harsh person, but they understand what I want and what I don't want. You will see them play around me, but they don't mess, because they know that it is not right to do this. And I come back to the friendly, fair, and firm. They understand that what you don't want, you really don't want it, and what you love, you really love it. And you don't create an environment where there is no difference between good and evil. They should really understand the difference, that this is exactly what my parent loves, this is exactly what my parent does not love. Allow me to say something about the relationship between the parents and how it impacts on children and even their future. If we have a lovely, wonderful relationship between husband and wife, the children become secure and they hope to have their own families in future. Sometimes there has been a big contribution in when our relationship, husband and wife, when we have a horse relationship, what will it happen? The children will detest marriage. They will not want to enter into marriage. Like, I better stay alone. If marriage is all about being like this. I have a relative who had a really terrible relationship with the husband and the wife, and both were teachers. And you know what happened? One time, the firstborn said, "I don't want to be a teacher." Then I asked why. If being teachers is how my father and mother relate, I don't want to be a teacher. You know,
they observe, as we've said. Children observe. Yeah,
they observe. And for men, I know you are listening to me. If you want your children to love you, love their mother. There is no way you will alienate the mother from the whole thing. By the way,
and this is also for children, for parents who are co-parenting. They don't live in the same home. They live in different homes, but they should still have a relationship whereby the children can see that our parents respect each other, right?
And again, children don't understand why you disagree. Do not try to pull the children towards you more than towards him. Even if, you know, sometimes because of safety and all that, separation is also encouraged. But I really believe that God created marriage to be permanent, to last forever. However, when there is danger in either of the parties, separation is allowed. But do not jump into another relationship with the pains of the previous relationship. What happens is, whatever pains you had, you are so careful that you had the next relationship using the pains of the past relationship.
And it also trickles down to the children.
And it trickles down to the children. And like, if you are always in fights and all that, you will find out that there are always fights in your home. Now, there is something we did with my wife. I'm happy that she's here watching, and I have my daughter here. And when we first entered into relationship, and after our wedding, our first thing was to have a meeting. What type of a family are we coming up with? We are going to bring to the world people. What type of people are we intending to bring to this world? What are some of the basic rules that we need to put in place so that when they come in, they join into it? And I remember we agreed that we are married to a human being has just married a human being. There is no pig in this house, there is no dog in this house, so there are no abuses in this house. By the way, you can stay in my house for a whole week and you will never hear my children abuse each other, because of the foundation we set, the two of us. So whatever rules and guidelines, it creates a system in the home, and each member that comes into that system will fit into it, and they will be home to peace. and harmony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, right now we know that it is during the long holidays. Children are at home and they'll be home for the longest until January. Those who are doing the Form 4 are actually finishing the exams by Friday, enjoying the rest of the siblings back at home. So what are some of the activities maybe or the parents should engage these children in so that they are not idle? As we know, an idle mind is the workshop of the devil. So what should they be doing? For the parent who's watching us and they wonder, sasa hawa watoto, I have until January to just be with them in this house. How do you engage them?
Having been a teacher for many, many years, I have seen parents abdicate their role as the guides, the mentors of their children, and they hand it either to the teachers or to the church. An opportunity of 2 months, 1 month that we have with our children is a great opportunity that you create memories in the lives of these children. And luckily those parents who are back at home, they are much better off because at least they have cause of these children. For me, it is the best time to give leave to your house help. It is the best time. If your children are fully grown, give leave to your house help at this point in time, so that your children can participate in the day-to-day course. They can wash utensils, they can wash their own clothes, they can do this. Because what happens? Are you aware of a time where a lady is married and she's been asked to cook chicken and they end up cooking chicken with feathers? You know? Because they never got an opportunity to train in a common course like cooking, cutting vegetables. Like they are now in their home and they want to cut vegetables, all of a sudden they cut their own fingers because our home is an institution of training. And these children should understand how to do their own things. Like my own boys, I have 3 young boys that 2 are in grade 7 and 1 is in grade 6. They know how to prepare chapati, they know how to do everything. When they come home, my wife does not cook. They go to the kitchen, they prepare food for us, they make sure they serve and all that. Because
nowadays children say they know their rights. They are not supposed to be doing the cooking.
Okay, what are these rights? Because the problem is the rights guys are always skewed to the perpetrator more than the defender. Like for example, they have really praised the parent. What is training in the first place? For example, can you take that child who really wants rights and they go to the camp to be recruited as recruits of Kenya Defense Forces, and they go there, they look at how the world, they must pass through dirty water, they must do this. You did nothing as a parent. When they reach there, they want to commit suicide because they have never seen anything like that. So when we talk about training and rights, and even that is how it has been abused, that my right is my right, is a right, and then your right is not a full right, so that my right can trample over your right. So when we are talking about the children and their development, we are not saying we put them under stress. But what we are saying is they need to learn to do simple, common things, washing their own clothes. If you don't want to use a dirty cup, just wash it. If you don't want to sleep in a bad place, wash your own beddings, wash your own sheets. This is a child who just finished Form 4, and you want the house girl to do. What are you doing? You are training the house girl, but in the expense of your own children. They can't fit anywhere. They have never asked for an apology to anyone. They have never undergone any hard times. When they face hard time, they think it is the end of the world. And that is why we have suicides happening today. Because, I remember grade D parents raised grade A children. Then grade A children are now raising grade D children. Because we forgot that the hardest struggles we went through. Like for me, I grew up in that. My father passed on, let his soul rest in peace, last year. And he was the old school. And they took us through the hard times. You went, ulienda kuchunga wakati kuna mvua, ulienda, you did all those things. When we face the world, we are confident But we ourselves have raised children who don't know how to hold a djembe, and they are always looking at a white collar job, and they have nothing to do with blue collar. When they come across blue collar, and you know, we have also gone out to think that like the white collar is much better than blue collar, which is not true. So exactly. We need to prepare our children, because you don't know what the world holds for them. Yeah. Maybe they will end up in blue collar, or they will end up in white collar. Prepare them for both ends.
All round.
Yeah, so that they can fit everywhere.
I don't want time to get to us before we talk about the internet. We are in the age of the internet. You know, children as young as 5 years old, actually even younger, 3 years old, are being given gadgets. What do you have to say concerning that? Because I believe during this time when they're at home, most of them, we don't see children playing outside as much as, you know, back then when children used to go outside to play. Nowadays, they stay with their computers, they stay with their gadgets, they stay with the TVs. What do you have to say concerning that? And how, as a parent, should you take care, or rather monitor what your child is doing on these tablets? Yes, in this age where, you know, they are very easily at a risk of abuse, even sexual exploitation, just through these gadgets. Yeah.
I want to remember what my principal at a teacher training college when I was training said, that anytime you see a person flare in anger, there is some weakness they are hiding. Yeah. Because they have stopped reasoning. So we as parents sometimes have flared anger. We force our children to do things, and we don't convince and persuade them out of the things they are entering into. I want to advise parents that, because right now I'm not just talking to the Christians, I'm talking to all parents. I want to, my father happened to have been, he was a Muslim the rest of his life. And I really looked at how the training we went through. I'm a Christian currently, but my father used to talk to us. There is the issue of madrasa. You are taught through what religion expects of you. There is constant communication to the children about their expectations. Right now, we have a whole wide open world. You only click a button and you can see anything you want.
Yes.
What the parents have tried to do is that anytime they arrive at home, they say, hey, Funga, hey, can you put off that channel? Put off that other channel. Put off this other channel. And you know, when they step out, their children go to those channels that he tried to stop them. The parents try to stop them from watching. What is this thing that our father and the mother does not want us to see? So I would that we sometimes allow some of those things, and we talk to the children about, can you see this? Can you right now walk naked in our streets? Then the child say, no. Say, that is the reason we feel like you should not watch this, because look, this one is naked, and no one would want to walk naked in our streets today. Or can you go to school without clothes? They say, no, I can't go. So we open up, we educate our children through social media, we educate our children through all that, so they understand what is right in this and what is wrong. And if they go into it, I want to say that my second-born daughter went to high school. When she was about to finish high school, she got pregnant. And my wife had gone out to a ladies' meeting. My daughter, I did not know. My daughter was in secondary. She was doing her exam while in the stress of early pregnancy. And when she comes home, she comes to me and says, Daddy, I have something very bad that happened to me, and I want to share it with you. She didn't share it with the mother. And she says, my father, I'm sorry, I'm pregnant. And I'm like, God. You know, I am very tough when a child is entering into the negative side. But when it comes to this, it is like a pot has already broken. Yeah. So it was more about now caring for this child, but along the way, this child told me something I'll never forget. She said, Daddy, you know why I'm still pregnant? It is because of the things you told me. And I said, getting pregnant is one mistake, but destroying the pregnancy is the second mistake. In the event in life you ever got pregnant as a young girl, please understand that you just did one mistake, but don't do the next one of destroying the pregnancy. The friends in secondary school contributed 5,000. This was a school in the outskirts, and 5,000 is a lot of money to such a little girl. And she was being asked, you can't go home with a pregnant womb. And she went back to them and said, thank you for contributing this, but I can't go against what my father told me earlier on. And she came back with the pregnancy. My grandson is now in grade 1, and it was all because of communication. I had told them about how a person can be pregnant, and in the event something like that happened, how would we deal with the issue of pregnancy? So I want to say that communication. Let us tell. Let's open some of those things and say, how do you see this? And they are like, hey, Daddy, no. Because they are seeing you. But tell them, this is not okay. Look. And I want to tell the religious, anybody who is not religious, please, I want to ask you to take your children, lead them to religion. Sometimes Christianity, the religious rules appeal to the inner man, and your children will continue. The Bible says, teach and train your children when they are young. When they grow old, they will not forget, and they will live by the statutes you have trained them into. So you as a parent, serve as a good example and lead your children to church. Those who go to the mosque, lead your children to the mosque or to the temple, so that the spiritual appeal will lead your children when they are out of your jurisdiction as a parent.
All right, we take another short break. We'll be back in a moment.
Okay.
Welcome back. This is Good Morning Kenya, and my name is Vivian Ndegwa. Now, there's something we need to talk about. That is teenage pregnancies. You've just touched on it. And we've been experiencing so many teenage pregnancies happening. And this brings the question of, when do we talk to our children about sex? Because for the longest time, this is a topic that has been viewed as an abomination. It's never spoken about. I don't remember being talked to by my parents, either my mom or my dad, concerning sex. We never talk to our children about this, but I think it's a very important topic. But when do you begin this conversation of sex with your children? Is there a particular age?
To begin with, I want to say that as a parent, you are a trainer, apart from just being a parent. Sometimes our own pitfalls become a hindrance from us talking to our children. I want to say that, to begin with, I want to talk from two perspectives. Perspective one is about parenting, and perspective two is about educational development. Our children are being talked to in school more about gender, for them to discover themselves. I'm a girl. Like, for example, having been in teaching for a long time, when you go to class grade 1, 2, 3, you find out that the children play freely. There is no boy or a girl. They go to grade 4 and they begin changing how they are playing. You don't need to tell them. You will just see the boys playing on their own and the girls playing on their own. At that point, because immediately after grade 4, most of the children enter adolescence. Do not allow they enter adolescence without having basic knowledge about sex. They need to understand the implication of, and don't tell them that if you play with a boy, you become pregnant. No, because they'll need to play together even to the later days of their life. Let them understand what it means. In case a person gets to get pregnant, what happens for a person to get pregnant? And in my home, there is no father and mother. In my home, and in my home also there is no boy, girl, and girl child. God gave me children. I talk to all of them together. My wife and I talk to the girls. My wife and I talk to the boys, because
it's not that the wife speaks to the daughters and then the father speaks to the son.
It was originally like that.
Yeah.
But right now, can we have a shared responsibility? Because sometimes your wife could be having a limitation somewhere, or you are having a limitation somewhere. Your wife can help you to talk to and you understand there is what we call psychosocial development of the children. Do you know that the first boyfriend of a daughter is a father? And then the first girlfriend, the first girlfriend of your son is the mother. And if the mother talked to the son about those things, they will hear it more than when the father is talking about, because the father is a symbol of authority. Yeah. And the daughters are skewed towards their fathers more than towards their mothers.
True.
And if you talk to your daughter about sexual things, they will understand it in a better way. But of course, try as much as possible. You have shared responsibility as father and mother. And the father is talking, the mother is talking, and it is a shared responsibility rather than a divided approach on child development.
Yeah.
So at grade, you know that in child development, immediately a child enters grade 5, they begin talking about physical, psychological, and the different developments and the physical changes of their bodies when they get to grade 5. So if you talk to them immediately as they end grade 4, it will be very helpful to them as they enter into now the training in the school. They understand what the teacher is talking about because it has been talked about. Because it is in grade 5 that the children are talked about sexual issues and sexual development, physical development, emotion development, the change of the voice. You know, the voice of the girl becomes tender, and the changes of the growing of the breasts, the change of the changes like the physical changes. The physical changes, the refining of the face. When the children are smaller, all of them are the same. But when they grow, immediately they enter into puberty, the face of the girl refines, and the boy becomes a little bit hoarse and all that. The manly thing begin to appear. So it is good at towards the end of grade 4. Try
That's
to begin
10
introducing, begin introducing to your children about the expectations of life, and then like you talk. I always talk to my girls. I happen to have come with my daughter who just finished grade class 8, and I've been talking to her, and I'm really praying that I'm sure she'll be going to a national school. And when I was talking with I talked to her and say, hey, you know what, when everybody tells you they love you, it doesn't really mean they do. When a boy tells you they love you, this is what they mean. When a fellow girl tells you they love you, because right now there is lesbianism, please handle it with a lot of skepticism. That word, I love you. The people who tell you truly we love you is us. But anybody else telling you they love it, first of all, find out what do they want from me. So it is good to you introduce. When they get to grade 5, when they have been introduced in the school, you now go deeper, because now they have been told about the fallopian tube, they have been told about the vagina, they have been told about this. Then you tell them now, what does that mean when it comes to an interaction between a boy and a girl?
So it goes in stages.
It goes in stages, yes.
Depending on their understanding, you know, what they can be able to to conceptualize.
Yes.
So at 10 years, there's something you're telling them. By 14, you can go into details.
Deeper.
Yes.
You now go deeper into it. Tell them, like for example, parents always, I remember I was talking to my son and I was asking in 2008, God blessed me with the first 3 girls and then him. Then now the girl I came with today. And he was like, Father, you are unfair. You are unfair. How do you bring a boy to 3 girls? Now you have added the 4th one. And in this house, we only have 2 boys. It is me and you. So why did you, because you know we are used to telling our children we will go to the supermarket and get a child. So how did you go to the supermarket and choose a girl, and yet you know I was the only boy? I can't play with you. So it is good like we communicate to our children very well so that they understand what some of these things mean. Maybe Is there any other area you want me to look at, maybe?
I want us to look at parents who are not as privileged. You know, there are parents who are able to be at home with their children, but there are those who are not as privileged to spend time with their children because they are busy. Some of these parents work outside the country because they need to look for that money, you know. There are parents who are not able to be home every single time. Maybe they are just, they leave the house very early in the morning, they come in late when the children are asleep. What happens to such parents, you know? How do we judge their parenting when in real sense they are really just out here trying to make sure that the future of the children is secured because they're trying to look for the money?
To begin with, can you entrust your car to a mechanic you know is an amateur?
No, you wouldn't.
The greatest mistake we always make is that we entrust our mechanic, the best mechanic, to our car. We entrust ourselves to the best hotels, but we are not careful on who takes care of our children behind us. If it is possible, if you are doing that, take the most qualified person to be the one taking care of your children. Because of your absence, your children will begin wanting to be like your house girl or a houseboy. So take the most qualified person and pay them well. Pay them well. Make them love the job. You know that they always say that a lazy man quarrels with their tools, right? A house girl who is harassed extends the anger and harasses the children in your absence. If you love them dearly, they will extend that love to your children. If you harass them when you are away, they will teach your children to be the roughest people that have ever been. So if you must be away, take the best person to be the one taking care of your children. Take someone you will want to be a mentor to your children to be the person taking care of your children. The most qualified, the most able, the most, you know, if it is even education, please, if it is possible, take a religious and very educated person to be in charge of your children. Do not take just anyone, just you want to fill the house. By the way, you entrust your house to your house girl. Then you entrust your child to a house girl, and you are not careful about the entry behavior of the child, that house girl, to your house. Do you ask about their educational background? Do you ask about their religious background? Do you ask how much do you, because you are entrusting your most precious, you know, can you entrust your bank account to anyone?
Of course not.
But is your bank account more important than your children? So why we need to really entrust the best for our children so that they are nurtured according to what you dream to be.
And maybe for parents who are at home and probably their children are swaying away, you know, what are some of the behaviors would you say that a parent should look out for to know that their kid is actually not going in the proper direction?
Number one is speech. You know your children, how they talk, how they deal with their, of course we have developmental changes, but be careful when you see them change how they, whatever they are saying, how they talk, they can change that. Number two, they can isolate themselves. They withdraw. Sometimes there is withdrawal. Like immediately you enter the sitting room, your children jump into their bedroom. Take care, something is going wrong. Yeah. So when your children, okay, when I'm at home, all my children sit in the sitting room, they are all talking and they are very happy. You know, everything is all right. Okay, my third-born daughter, after she did Form 4 and she had a C-. And she came back to me and said, Daddy, can you allow me to go back? I really feel like I saw you struggle through certificate until diploma and you went. It was not easy. But I wouldn't want to go that route. So I told her, fine. I took her back. When she finished, she got a C. And I told her, now you got a good grade, you can go. Do you know what happened? She was a love of the TV. But at some point, it changed. She was always in the bedroom. I came back to the mother and said, what is wrong with our daughter? And I called her and she said, Daddy, I still have the same dream. I added one point. Can you give me another chance to add the second point? And I said, God, but it is you who did the exam. Said, Daddy, please, this one more chance. And indeed, I gave her that one more chance.
Yeah.
And she had a C+. And she will be finishing her undergraduate at Lukenya University. She's doing education, Kiswahili geography. And it was because of, I noticed she had withdrawn.
Yeah, because she's someone who used to stay in the living room and watch television.
And very open with us and all that. She withdrew. And I really glorify God that God gave me the foundational training as a special education specialist. Yeah.
So for parents, they just be on the lookout to changes in behavior. You know your child. When you notice a behavior that is not what you're used to with this child, then you should talk to the
There is also the change of association. Like they were always with a certain group of people, and then now they have changed. And do you, by the way, do you know the friends of your children? You need to follow up and really know who are the friends of my children, so that when they change friendships, you want to follow up and find out why are they changing the friendships. Yeah. So that is, and again, there is intuition. There is intuition. Sometimes you are talking to your child and like something inside you is telling you something is not right. So don't go and say something is not right with you. You use that intuition to investigate and really find out if whatever you are presuming is true. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a group of people that I think we are forgetting, and these are parents who have children with special needs.
Oh God.
How do they go about, you know?
I want to encourage the parents that are with the children with special needs. By the way, sometimes you end up asking yourself, is there anything wrong I did that made everything to be like this? That I have a child with autism, I have a child with schizophrenia, I have a child with these difficulties and Down syndrome. To you, the parent, I want to say this. I want to encourage you that have a strong heart. I ask you to look for a support group. Look for a support group and look for specialized advice and guidance, and that will be helpful to you. And remember that you are a favored person, that you have a great heart to handle such a child. Love them, appreciate them, and I'm very sure that you are not unique. Many other parents have gone through that, and please avoid going down to depression. Balance between support of this child and also having your personal enjoyment. Get out of the way sometimes and go out and entertain yourself. Have time with the friends. Maybe get a caregiver to also be supportive to you, so that you can also live your life. Because do not amalgamate your life and the life of the child with the special needs. Can you separate the two so that you become a support caregiver and also continue living your own life? So if you can get a caregiver once a week or twice a week, you get out of that and get out of the touch with the child, so that someone else can support you. Lastly, I want to appreciate the
very
parents.
quickly as we wind up.
I want to appreciate the parents who are single mothers, single fathers, and widows. You are strong, because you are participating in two roles. It is not easy, but keep being strong. We have seen children who have come out to be great people from single parenting. Be strong and try to balance. And even if you are a father, may you look for a mother figure. And if you are a mother, would you look for a father figure to support your children, to provide the male voice to your children? Religion sometimes provides for that, and school provides for that subsidy in the event, because you can't be both father and mother. Try to find out so that your child becomes balanced. A boy child will want to be a boy, but they can end up being a boy child physically and a girl person inside them.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us in this conversation, and thank you for shedding light.